Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another IEM review. Today we are taking a look at the Yanyin Canon, and this is a 4 balanced armature, 1 dynamic driver hybrid earphone. If you're new here to the channel, welcome. We review headphones, earphones, all that other good stuff, like high-end stuff, giving you the best value for money and comparisons and stuff between other earphones. If you like the content, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, it really helps out. If you're returning, welcome back guys. As always, leave comments down below if you want to see this compared directly to something else in its price point, or maybe something higher up in the price brackets. This one comes in, it's retailed at about $350 depending where you buy it. Recommended retail price I think is $349 on showing on Linsole right now. I'll leave a link to all this stuff in the description below. This is a good one. This is a really good one. It's £350, so you're dollars. So you're looking so in that Mangra T range, and you're looking, you know, some of the Raptigo Hook X. What else have we got in here? Tin Hi-Fi P1. We're looking at those planars that are punching above 7 Hz timeless. You're looking at planar territory. Planars, these planars come in at about $200, $250, and they punch well above their price point into the sort of region of being competitive up to $500, I would say, or even they compete against tribrid earphones in my mind because planars are so unique. However, the one criticism of planars always seems to be the bass. You don't get that ethereal rumble slamming sub bass. So when I saw this, I thought there was a few earphones in that $300-400 price point. Even the Dunu EST hybrids have came down in price. They're not that far out of a reach of this, but I think that this Canon by Yanyin, I keep saying Yanyin, Yanyin Canon is definitely something interesting, and let's get into it with a quick look at the box. So the box comes with this little sleeve, and it's not really designed for the Western market. It sits in there, it's got the product, and it's all in Chinese at the back apart from the address. It just gives you a very basic setup of the filter switches, which we'll talk about in a second. The filter switches are what makes these such a special earphone. We'll go ahead and take the top off the box just to show you the presentation. Earphones come in this case under that portion. I've already taken them out, been listening to them. Warranty card in here, usual nonsense, and just a really basic set of tips, and that's all you get in it. It's just a whole bunch of foam underneath, so nothing exciting going on in here. I was disappointed in the included tips. I did switch to the ASLA SenderFit tips, as I always mention in the videos. Go ahead and check the link in the description to these tips. These are awesome, best tips I've ever used, even better than the Final Audio A3000. Now you do get a carry case with this one. It's quite nice, fake leather, but it's got a little padding on it. Feels quite premium, and it's got the company logo on the top. Pull out the earphones, and it's pretty familiar. The Tribrids, the Zens, the Monarchs. This resin body thing is quite played out at this point, but it's played out for a reason, and that's because it's so good quality. And you can get these custom design faceplates. You can implement the switches a lot easier than you can with a metal body. Let me bring it in super close so you can see the filter switch options up the top there. Let's talk about the cable before we get into the earphones outright. The cable is okay. It's pretty much one of these cables that we would have paid a fortune for just a few years ago in the hobby, but now has become pretty standard. It is a quad braid into dual twist past the splitter point. It doesn't hold too much memory. It's easy to wrap it up, leave it down, and it doesn't have too much spring or anything, so that works well. It's quite a thick gauge as well, so it's going to be durable, it's going to hold up well. It's not a gold-plated 3.5mm on the end, it's just regular. It is 3.5mm, there's no fancy interchangeable system, so I'll leave a link to a couple of different cable options, cheap cable options that you can choose down in either the comments or the description below. You can click on that and it will take you through to some good cable options if you're wanting to use a balanced connector. I was actually using these with my Monarch's cable, so I was listening to this in balance, but I also did the majority of the testing with my iBESaud and just listening to it straight 3.5 because that's what everybody's going to get out of the box. I didn't find that they were particularly power hungry. Metal jack point, strain relief, the cable tie there, metal splitter, metal slider, all very good stuff. The only weird thing again that you seem to be seeing happen is that it is a cable that's designed to be used with a recessed headphone. With this black piece here, it is meant to sit into a recess, but it's not a recessed headphone at all. So you have this sort of weird thing where the metal stops and then you have the plastic protrusion of the 2-pin connector, but that's fine, it keeps it off the ears. And a nice short cable guide for once, which we've been seeing these ones that come down like inches behind your ears. Anyway, into the earphones. The earphones are pretty basic in terms of the design. I've probably just destroyed them now. Nice faceplate design on it, resin shell. On the left it has the company logo and then it has the model. I think it's fairly tastefully done. I'm not too sure about the font on the Canon, it's kind of hard to read. But I definitely like this purple and black colour scheme on it. A little bit of translucency on it. It's kind of nice, like I kind of like it. Now we want to talk about the big feature on these earphones, and that's up the top here. Maybe if I grab one on its own. And I just need to get, there we go, focused for a second. You can see the filter switches there, and that allows you to switch between different modes in terms of tuning the earphones for your own, the way you want to listen to. You can adjust the bass, the mids and the treble, given different combinations, you get different sounds out of it. My criticism of that technology is I hate it. It's something completely useless along the lines of when you get these ones with the the tips that screw out and then you screw them back in, you play about, and you end up just listening to the one mode, the one default mode that you set it up with, and you never end up changing it again. The reason I hated these filter switches so much was because there was a couple of companies that were doing it, FIO especially, absolutely did nothing on most of their earphones. It gave no benefit for me, it gave no enhancement for the sound. The thing that I'm noticing here is this is actually changing the sound quality, or not the sound quality, but the tuning. It's actually made it a very versatile earphone. When I first listened to these in the default setting, I was surprised with the amount of bass. The amount of bass was something that was really, really good to me because coming from the Mango T, which has a more sort of neutral tuning, other earphones in that price point, and as I say, being competitive against the planars and the sound quality factor, the planars don't have that impactful bass, like hard-hitting rumble bass. This has rumble bass when you want it, but you can switch those filters and tame it down. It becomes far more neutral. The same went for the way that I was listening to the treble on it. The treble was fairly muted at the start, and then I flicked the switch to turn it up, and it just gave it that extra little bit of pop that made, like, I was listening to Tchaikovsky 1812, about halfway through, like, you've got the wind section playing and you're like, it needs something, it needs a little bit more sparkle to open up the sound stage on it. Flicked that switch on it and it just about hit right, and especially when you came to the canons at the end. If anybody knows this song, like, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. But at the end of Tchaikovsky, you have the canons, especially if you're listening to the Telarc version, you have the digital canons. You have the impact, the bass rumble, the big hits. It was just like a glorious symphony. It was like a beautiful combination. Now, the other thing that I noticed that was when I switched over and I started listening to EDM music with it, the punchiness of the bass is not the fastest the earphone, but that quantity of the bass in combination of peaking those treble, and that's the setting I would have it on. I would have it on the neutral default settings for the mids and the lows, and then I would bump up the treble just a little touch. That gives you a beautiful presentation in EDM where it is spacious sounding but complements the deep lows with the peaking highs. Anybody knows like Tiesto 7 Seconds to Sunrise, it really builds up for a long time. You get those peaks coming up, or I'm trying to think, anything from Infected Mushroom where it really peaks up and it's got a sort of scratchy digital quality, especially on Vicious Delicious or something by Infected Mushroom. It's got those scratching electronic highs that build up, and this gives a lot of energy back to you on that before delivering that impactful bass drop. So it's definitely not something that I would call a neutral earphone. It's more slanted towards the bass, but that doesn't mean it's incapable of producing other genres of music. You don't just need to listen to like EDM or something like that, or rap, hip hop. You can tame down the bass a little bit, especially with EQing with your phone. I noticed it's very responsive to EQ this for some reason. And there's another quality that I think makes this stand out, and that's the very natural presentation of it. It's not harsh hitting, it has a slight warm overtone. The balanced armatures are not cold and metallic sounding. It just has a lovely presentation on like male vocals. I was listening to Everlast Black Jesus, and the gravity and weight in his voice was absolutely fantastic. But then I switched over to Adele, Skyfall, and the sense of air and space and the upper mid-range just hit just right, because not all female vocals benefit unless you're a big fan of K-pop, J-rock, that sort of stuff. The vocals don't get too screechy. This hit a sweet spot, and I'm really surprised because I know nothing about this company. Is there anything I would change? Not really. I think at this price point, you're getting something that in its stock configuration, I would say is worth the money at $350, providing you're not looking for that all-out audiophile experience that I believe you can get from Planars at this price. The next step up for this would be going to EARBUDS, where you get the EST drivers complementing the balanced armatures. But in terms of $350 with switches that actually work, the only thing that I can think of being comparatively good is the LZ-A7, I think it is, and the ones with the interchangeable filter switches on it, and it's a tribrid. Barring that, I think this is one of the best ones there, especially if you listen to a mix of EDM, hip hop, rock, pop, that sort of stuff. Fantastic earphone. Definitely recommend it. I also have the Aladdin in for review, and I'm going to go and give. I'm going to film that now. Give it its full review. I finished listening to that. I also think that's very good, but this is a big step up from it. So that's going to be it for this review. As I said in the last video, I'm trying to keep these under 15 minutes now. Coming up, we have, as I mentioned, the Yanyin Aladdin review. I have the TRN TA1 Max. I have these guys. These are the G200 from Harmonic Dyne. Interesting, very interesting planar magnetic headphones. So if you like any of these reviews, if you like the video, please go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like if you liked it, leave a dislike if you disliked it. I really love the community. Let me know what you think. Does anybody own these? Does anybody have any comparisons between anything? Does anybody want to see direct comparison video against something else that I may have? If you go back and look at my other videos, I keep all the earphones, so I can go back and I can go over something, do a direct comparison. Maybe something in that price point catches your eye, but as it is, I would like to see more ear tips in the box. I would like to see a balanced cable option included, but I think it is a fantastic sounding earphone as it is, so good job on the Canons. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. I'm out.